They're a bit of a mixed bag, but they're still great filmmakers. Hey everyone, welcome to the ranking. Here's my ranking of the Wachowskis movies. Yes, they used to be called the Wachowski brothers, but now they're just the Wachowskis. And yes, I'm here to celebrate their movies. Yes, they have made a lot of great films, a lot of terrible films, but a lot of great films as well. And I'm here to celebrate all their films by ranking them from my least favorite to my favorite. But there is some ruling when it comes to this video. I'm not including two films that I really enjoy. And that is The Animatrix and V for Vendetta. The Animatrix, yes, they had a big part of, but it was directed by like 10 filmmakers, so I'm not going to count that in this ranking. In V for Vendetta, they didn't direct it. It was like James McTeague or something. They wrote and produced it. Honestly, if V for Vendetta was in this ranking, it'd be #1 because I love V for Vendetta. Amazing. One of the most best and underrated superhero movies out there. But those movies don't count, but the other 7 films that they directed do count, and I'm here to rank all of them from my least favorite to my favorite. So let's get started. Here's my ranking. Alright, coming at number 7 is Jupiter Ascending. Please, somebody out there, please explain to me the story of this film? Is that what I call it? Yeah, I guess it's a movie. It's not a movie to me. It's just a mess. It's just visual effects, not even good CGI, it's visual effects. It's just a bunch of effects and a bunch of running around and blowing up and stuff happening. I don't even know what's happening. This movie makes no sense. It's horribly directed, horribly written, just devastatingly, awfully acted. That's not a sentence, but whatever. The acting in this movie is absolute shit. Mila Kunis plays Jupiter, yeah, that's her name. Channing Tatum's awful, Sean Bean, Eddie Redmayne probably in the top 10 worst performances in a science fiction film. Hello, I am the villain. That's the real potential of Eddie Redmayne. This movie just isn't good. It makes no sense. It's bloated. Again, it doesn't make sense. That's the biggest flaw with the movie. It makes no sense. Even on James Corden, live James Corden, he said to Mila Kunis, please explain to me Jupiter Ascending. She couldn't even explain it. This movie makes no sense. It's horribly executed, really bloated. It's got terrible CGI, terrible performances. Yes, the Wachowskis tried to build a fun fantasy movie for the whole family, and they failed horribly. Coming number 6, speaking of family-friendly science fiction fantasy movies, Speed Racer. Speed Racer is actually gotten a cult following for some reason. I don't think this is a good movie. People say it's style over substance, damn right, but even the style's not even that great. The effects don't even look really that good. They're very cartoony, but everyone's like, well, that's the point. It's based off a cartoon series. I never watched the cartoon series. I don't care about the cartoon series. I really don't care about this movie. I didn't like the effects. Some of the racing scenes are, I guess, okay, but I just didn't like this movie. Again, it was overly long, overly bloated. I didn't give a shit what happens to any of these characters. The effects weren't blowing me away. The story wasn't interesting, funny, and had a huge cast, and all of them were just wasted. Emile Hirsch, Christina Ricci, Matthew Fox, John Goodman, all of them wasted in this very sloppily, horribly directed film. A lot of people, again, are getting a cult following. They think it's a pretty cool, neat, visually stunning movie. I disagree. I don't think it's that good. Coming number 5 is Matrix Revolutions. Yes, the 3rd Matrix installment. This is supposed to end the trilogy with a bang, and my god, did it fail. This movie just isn't good. The shitty 2nd one with its shitty ending, this is even shittier. The movie already begins confusing, Neo in this, train station in this loop thing. I'm like, oh my god. The action scenes, which were visually creative and stunning in the first one, are just boring and dull. And it's got shaky cam and just all these terrible effects, and they're boring and they're not interesting. You have no investment with these characters that you cared for in the first film, but lost interest in the second film and lost even more interest in this film. They even kill characters off in this movie, and you just don't give a shit. I didn't care. They killed lead characters off in this movie, and I didn't care. And yes, Agent Smith, who is actually a very intimidating villain in the first one, is like a cartoon with this like, oh god, and with the cookies joke, I'm like, oh dear Jesus. He's awful in this movie, and yes, they do that Dragon Ball Z fight at the end of the movie with him and Neo in the rain. It's not interesting. They even do sort of this weird thing, Neo goes to the machines and he gets plugged into the Matrix, and I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense, and everything that's done in this movie isn't done properly. The climax isn't epic or interesting, and you have no investment with the story. It's not a god-awful piece of shit, but it's definitely a damn bad movie. It just has zero investment, and it's so bland and boring. Just I can't stand this movie. It's the worst Matrix movie, and definitely a very weak film for the Wachowskis' filmography. Coming number 4 is The Matrix Reloaded. Yes, The Matrix Reloaded was a very split film. Some people really loved it, had a lot of fun with it, they thought it was creative, there's some cool scenes and stuff, and of course, The Matrix, it's back! I really didn't like it, I didn't care for it. There's a couple scenes I did like that mansion scene, that's a pretty cool scene. When he first fights, the agents in the beginning, that's kind of cool. The highway chase scene's kind of fun, so there's 3 fun action scenes, but the movie's boring, and it's bland, it's wooden, it's dull, it's uninteresting. I have no investment. I had so much investment in the first film, and I lost it in this one. Just Lawrence Fishburne, Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, they're just so wooden in this movie. They were kind of wooden in the first one, but it worked more for the tone and story. This one just feels so boring and bland. Just, I didn't give a shit what was happening. There's a couple of cool action scenes. I really don't like the Agent Smith scene. That's such a cheap-looking scene. Just, oh, Mr. Anderson, surprised to see me? Me. Gosh. Hugo Weaving is such a great actor and a great villain in these movies, but he got more cartoony as the movies kept going, and this movie just... It's not very good. It's not a good movie. The first one had interesting philosophies, creative action, and a very cool, interesting concept and story. This one just lost it. I had no investment, and it was just boring and dull, and I just didn't care. 3 good action scenes at least, but still a very boring movie. Coming number 3 is Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas, again, like Matrix and stuff, it's very split, but I'm on the positive side. Yay, positivity! I'm more on the positive when it comes to Cloud Atlas. This is like a bunch of different stories. It's like 7 different stories in different timelines. One's like during the slavery, one's during like the 1920s, the 40s, the 70s, the modern time, the future and stuff, even more into the future in the post-apocalyptic wastelands and stuff. They all have different genres. One's like a period piece, one's a romance, one's a drama, one's a thriller, one's a comedy, one's a science fiction film, one's just a survival film. They're all very interesting and has all these actors playing different roles in each story, each timeline, and it's fascinating. It's very ambitious, and I really like how ambitious this movie is. I like how creative and visual it is. I enjoyed the stories. Not all of them worked, but most of them did. Jim Sturgis, Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, Hugo Weaving, Jim Broadbent, all give great performances. Hugh Grant's in it as well. A lot of great actors in this movie, and it was very well done, very well directed, very well written, very well paced. In a 3-hour length, they got a lot of stories in, and they all worked relatively well. I enjoyed this movie. There's some stuff that I don't like, but for an ambitious Wachowski's movie, it works. Coming number 2 is Bound. Yes, Bound was really close to being my number 1. I was debating whether, this in my number 1 was my number 1. You all know what my number 1 is, but I was debating because I loved this movie. I loved this neo-noir, dramatic thriller about these 2 girls who fall in love, Corky and Daisy. They're these neighbors, but then they try to rip off the girl's boyfriend who works for the mob. Then all these murders start happening, and they basically get tied into this mess that they created, because they stole his money and stuff, and it's such an interesting, very thrilling movie, and I love it. I love the 2 lead girls. I think they're both great. Jennifer Tilly steals the movie. Great chemistry, these 2 lead girls. They're actually one of my favorite movie couples in movies. They're so great, Corky and Daisy. I love Joe Pantoliano in the movie. I love how the Wachowskis directed and wrote this movie. It was a very calm movie. And it also is very ambitious because not a lot of movies were made about homosexuality, especially a thriller about homosexuality, and it's a fascinating movie. I was on the edge of my seat when I first watched this movie, and I had to watch it multiple times after because it's so watchable, so in-depth, so smart, so clever, so well directed, so well acted. I just love it. It's almost my favorite Wachowski's movie. Just my number 1 is a little bit better, but this movie, if you haven't seen this movie yet, it's a very underrated film, and I highly recommend it. It's so freaking good. And my number 1 favorite Wachowski's movie is, no shit, The Matrix. Yes, The Matrix. I know Kung Fu. Whoa. This movie is really good. It's a very good movie. It's an interesting idea, very unique, fresh, cool concept, very original. Even though, yes, it's a Dark City, but it's different. It adds more than Dark City did. Has a better budget and better action scenes than Dark City does. But Dark City is still a great film. I love this movie. I like Keanu Reeves in this movie. I thought he did a great job. Carrie Moss, Lawrence Fishburne, or Hugo Weaving, all of them are great. These new characters, I love the character Cypher, played by Joe Pantoliano. Very interesting villain and stuff, and I love a lot of the scenes in this movie, like the scene when he first meets the Oracle, when he runs into the kid, when he's like, don't try to bend the spoon, trying to realize what it is, that there is no spoon. It's interesting, then he turns his head and turns the spoon. It's interesting, the philosophies and the concept in this movie is smart and clever and well done. I felt like that Wachowski's really tried, especially with the kung fu action scenes. They work beautifully. The ideas, the storytelling, everything about this movie just works. At times it comes out bland and wooden, but it kind of works for the tone and atmosphere. The next one's just got boring. This one was interesting, fresh, and cool, and entertaining as hell. The action scenes are fantastic. The opening chase scene with Trinity's awesome. I love the train station scene with him and Agent Smith. Amazing action scene. There's a lot of tension. Of course, the scene when they bust Morpheus out. That's a kick-ass action scene. The ending's really good. It's very edgy, very engaging. You want to know where the story's going. Unfortunately, the story went in a very boring route, but at least this movie started off with a bang, and it's a damn good sci-fi action movie, and hands down the best movie the Wachowskis have ever made. So yeah, that was my ranking of all the Wachowski's movies, from my least favorite to my favorites. Sorry, in the comment section below, please tell me, did you agree with this ranking? If not, give me your ranking of all of the Wachowski's movies, from your least favorite to your favorite. Comment below, let me know. And as always, for this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and join the dark side.